Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Cici Susanti. I am from 1PIA and I want to explain about radicalism. Now for the first, what the definition of radical understanding? Based on the concise Oxford Dictionary, radical means source, root or origin. So, radicalism is understanding that seeks to bring about deep and fundamental change to its roots in social and political way, in drastic, extreme, and violent ways according to its thinking. Many indicators are the characteristics of exposure to radical understanding. The characteristics of people who have been exposed and brainwashed with radical understanding that appear in daily activities, according to John in his book. Number 1. Rejecting state ceremonial. They think that everything that is not explained in the scriptures is a deviant thing. This is because of their highly textual way of studying scripture. And number 2, being a very introvert. They can only accept people who are like-minded, so they close themselves off including from their families and prefer to be within the scope of their own group. And number 3, being antisocial. Radicals indoctrinate their members to associate with only with the poor. This causes them to be reluctant to socialize with people outside their groups. And number 4, feeling the most true and fond of this belief. They feel that their teachings are the most true. Others who don't understand them are missed and can be followed. Number 5, intolerant on different understanding. Because they feel the most right and like to fictionalize, intolerant attitudes arise with people of different beliefs. This is shown by the violent attitude commit to those who don't agree. And according to a study conducted by the Marib Institute and the Wahid Institute, the characteristic of groups that have a radical understanding is number 1, claims that his group religion is the truth. Basically, every group must believe that its religious teachings are the most correct. It's just that unlike radical groups, they are accompanied by an attitude of blaming or thinking that other religions are wrong. In fact, they think that everyone outside their group is infidel and wrong, so they can be fought and even allowed to be killed. Number 2, feeling the most understanding of religious doctrine. Radicals groups generally feel they have superior knowledge and relate to their religious doctrine. For them, the Quran must be kept pure by existing first textually as they are because interpreting outside the text is considered to misappropriate and abuse the Quran. Number 3, feeling of having the authority to eradicate people of different understanding. They have a mission to disseminate their religious understanding to others and feel right to eradicate those of different minds. They commit various terrors, murders, robberies, and various other acts of violence. And the next, radical implication for religious and national life. Indonesia can be formed thanks to the struggle of the founders of the ancient nation at the beginning of the independence of Indonesia. The younger generation who don't know or don't want to know about their struggles, the founding fathers of the nation, have arisen today. There are many groups that secretly or blatantly want to replace the basis of the Indonesian state or ideology, which is the basis for the realization of the unity Indonesia. They are the ones who have radicalism. Radicalism, if not addressed immediately, will make the ideology of Pancasila even more immediate because Indonesia is a country that is very diverse and varied both in terms of ethnic, culture, race, and religion, the slightest friction between these factors can be a trigger for radicalism movement that already exists, especially those regarding religion. The most obvious impact of radicalism is the formation of politicians within religion, where religion is indeed very sensitive in nature. The assist to burn fanatics to be the loudest, fun to carry out very harsh action, both in social life between individuals and groups, so that a so-called radical Islamic group is formed. Okay, for the next, the concept of a persuasive approach in dispelling the wave of radicalism. The concept of a persuasive approach implies a soft approach. The path of this approach is through speech and media, namely educational institutions, interfaith harmony dialogue, socialization, or workshop. Persuasive efforts aim to instill understanding, enlighten, and educate the public about the dangers of radicalism. That way, it will raise awareness for the public so as not to be integrated in radical understanding. There are several efforts that police officers can to prevent the development of the radicalism. The police can work with religious leaders to enlighten religious thought or change religious mindset about radical views. Police can try to have a direct dialogue with the community through counseling, seminars, and advertisement. In addition, as an effort to anticipate and prevent the entry of radical understanding, it is necessary to make counter-propaganda efforts to counteract the concept or propaganda created by radical groups through social media and mass media. Okay, for the next, the concept of a repressive approach in dispelling the tide of radicalism. Quoting the opinion of Harry Firmansyah, crime prevention is essentially an effort to protect the community or social defense so that the community avoids crime. One of them can be done through repression. For example, targeting radical groups that have used illegal means such as violence. Indeed, repressive measures to solve the problem of radicalism must be avoided. However, this doesn't mean that repressive measures cannot be used at all. Of course, when the acceleration of radical action is high and cannot be stopped, then repressive measures must be used to suppress and stop such radical action, especially since the situation requires the use of violence against radical groups, such as radical groups committing action that threaten the public security, police, and civilians. In this case, repressive measures are necessary to prevent serious or life-threatening crimes. Although the police can use repressive methods, restriction are necessary. For example, when police carry out assault, the use of weapons and the shooting of radical groups should still be avoided unless absolutely necessary. Indeed, restriction on the use of the repressive measures have their own meaning. In addition to avoiding abuse of police authority, the use of force to eradicate violence reported by radical groups is also ineffective in solving the problem and may not be able to prevent similar incidents from happening again. The use of repressive means as the main means of problem solving by the police seems to equate the degree of police officer with radical groups if the police officer participates in using extreme and violent methods to solve the problem of radicalism. In addition, violent means also have the potential to create new problems and caused by the fanaticism from radical groups that will retaliate with violence. Okay, for the next, moderate genealogy of Islam. This is different than before material, and for the next material is about moderate. Now for the first, moderate genealogy of Islam. Islam is always treated to various kinds of difference regarding manhaj, ideology, and perspective on life issues. So, with this difference comes the term moderation, which always tries to take the middle position of two opposing and excessive attitudes. Islam that teaches mutual respect, tolerance, and upholds human values and civility makes Islam perceived to contain moderate teachings in it, which is often known as Islamic moderation. Of course, Islamic moderation has a genealogy or history that has existed since the time of the Prophet. One of them is the story that Aisha records about three friends who claimed to practice their religion well. Each of three companions claimed to be diligent in fasting and not breaking the fast, always night prayer and never sleeps, and not getting married for fear of interfering with worship. In the story, the Prophet saw the wasatiyah attitude that is not excessive in religion. The Prophet was diligent in fasting and breaking the fast. In contrast to friends who didn't break the fast, this was precisely an excessive attitude in religion, which was certainly not in accordance with the principle of moderation in Islam. In Prophet, Islam is very wasatiyah, not wanting to burden its people. Islam gives many convenience so that its people carry out as well as possible. It is not excessive in worship and doesn't disdain. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, the event of moderation cannot be separated from the role of Wali Songo, which also exemplifies the attitudes of moderation. One of the religion moderations shown by the saints is the practice of cultural acculturation. An example is how Sunan Kudus used a Hindu-style temple building as part of the minaret of the Holy Mosque, which became known as the Holy Minaret. Okay, the next, regulation of Islamic moderation in Indonesia. Many regulations, and for number one is presidential regulation number 18 of 2020. Presidential regulation number 18 of 2020 stipulates the national medium-term development plan for 2020 and 2024. One of which is the arguments that relate to the urgency and significance of religious moderation is in creating a harmonious and peaceful Indonesian society. And number 2 is Dictionary of the Minister of Religious Affairs number 720 of 2020. KMA number 720 of 2020 contains the establishment of a working group for religious moderation. Ministry of the Republic Indonesia, the Pokja of Religious Moderation, then complete a roadmap for strengthening religious moderation 2020 for 2024, which is a revision and continuation of the recommendation of the book Religious Moderation by Lukman Hakim Saifuddin as Minister of Religious Affairs of the Indonesia for 2014 for 2019. This working group was also formed as a follow-up and to presidential regulation purpose number 18 of 2020 concerning the National Medium-Term Development Plan, which mandate the Ministry of Religious Affairs as the leading sector for the implementation of the strengthening religious moderation program. Okay, for number 3, regulation of the Minister of Religious Affairs number 18 of 2020. PMA number 18 of 2020 decided regarding the strategic plan of the Ministry of Religions for 2020 and for 2024. One of the points is that the Ministry of Religion is a ministry that has the mandate to become a leading sector in releasing, strengthening religious moderation, and making religious moderation the spirit that colors the programs of the Ministry of Religions. Okay, number 4, Dictionary of the Minister of Religious Affairs, number 90 and 3 of 2022. KML number 93 of 2022 is one of the implementation of the Ministry of Religion Strategic Plan, where in this KML discuss the guidelines for strengthening religious moderation for civil servants and of the Ministry of Religion. Okay, for the next, the origins of Islamic moderation education. Studying the Islamic moderation education course is important in equipping students about the importance of applying a moderate attitude in order of social life. It is hoped that throughout this course, students can cultivate an attitude and character of moderation, considering the increasing case of intolerance in Indonesia, and are expected to be able to foster an inclusive spirit in respecting difference. In addition, Islamic moderation education is important, especially in this case, religious moderation, so that students' way of religion can be implemented moderately or not excessively. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.